So you started though in acting before singing, correct?
Well, my heart was in acting before singing,
Mhm.
but professionally, I actually put acting on the back burner for a while because my music career really took off.
Right.
My first tour was with Ashley Simpson, who had become a friend of mine. And from there, I got my own record deal. I was signed by Jay-Z to Island Def Jam and just had a crazy whirlwind of a time in the music business.
Wait.
Um,
So hold on, stop there. How does that even work? And being somebody who doesn't know anything about this, if you sign with Jay-Z, I would assume you have to be like a rapper, but obviously you weren't. So how does that even work?
right. Yeah. So it was very interesting. I'm a singer-songwriter at the piano. That's where I shine, and
Mhm.
that's what I love most. I'm a classically trained pianist, um, and all that. So when it came time for me to go for a record deal, I had written a ton of songs, and I was signed to a production deal. And they took me to New York where I would showcase for 9 labels in 3 days. I went to all the majors. It was grueling.
Mhm.
And I took a guitarist with me, and we were just playing, 1 or 2 acoustic songs, and that's how I was getting my record deal. And we were in the Island Def Jam offices, and all the heads were in there. And my guitarist was so nervous because of who was there that he was just screwing my whole set. He was just messing up. And I reached over, I was like, oh my God, I can't go down with this ship. So I just reached over and I put my hand on his guitar and I stopped him from playing. And I stood up and there was a piano in the room. And I took all the men, it was only men, I was the only woman in the room. I took all these men and I took them by the shoulders and I pulled up chairs and I sat them in chairs by the piano. And I played a song that I had written, and they offered me a record deal right there.
Wow.
And it was just like, uh, taking matters into your own hands and not being willing to go down with a ship as a performer, which you know as well. You have to, that's what being a seasoned performer means, that no
Mm.
matter what goes wrong, you can handle it.
Right.
And you can keep your audience comfortable and you can keep everything fine. Everything's cool. If you're cool, they're going to be cool.
Right.
And I learned a lot about myself in that moment. And so that's how I got signed to Island Def Jam.
Oh, that's
But
amazing.
yes, so to say, just to answer your question more
Yes.
specifically, I got signed as a singer-songwriter at the piano, but I was so young. I was like 20, early 20s. I didn't know who I was yet.
Mm.
And this was a situation for me where I was really overwhelmed because these people were pouring millions of dollars into me, and I didn't know how to stand up for what I wanted. So there was a lot of me just kind of like giving into their ideas and going in the
Mhm.
direction that they wanted me to go in. And they were putting rappers on my songs, like
Oh.
Tricky and Dream, who did Rihanna's Umbrella and many, many monster hits. I did half my album with them, and there were rappers on my songs, and it was fun, but it wasn't who I was at all. And um, I really did myself a disservice that I've punished myself for a long, long time.
Mhm.
And not only not only cheating myself out of, like, my true power, but I also had a lot of guilt about having let them down because
Mhm.
ultimately my record never came out on that label, and I felt awful. I felt responsible for a long time, even though there's a lot of ingredients that go into making someone explode.
Yeah.
Um, and I wasn't responsible for those things, but I really carried that. I still carry that guilt and that shame. There's a lot of like shame in it for a long time. I feel like I let everybody down and I felt like I betrayed myself by
Right.
allowing them to guide me into directions that weren't how I shine. And
Right.
And I learned a big lesson in that of never doing that again, because you are doing yourself a huge disservice if you are avoiding your own magic.